All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final sixth lesson of the Agency Growth Bootcamp. Guys, I'm so sorry I have not been consistent with posting these episodes for the Agency Growth Bootcamp on a weekly basis like I promised at the very beginning. I'm so sorry for that. Unfortunately, my business comes first. It is a priority for me to run the actual business, to lead my team, hire people, fulfill the client deliverables that we promised and sold. And this is just my hobby. I do it on the side. I produce content in hopes that it will help somebody who is just starting out on this journey of building their own marketing agency, or is already in the process of building their own marketing agency. I hope it will be helpful for you guys to just take the information I'm giving here and hopefully you can apply it and see a success in your own or with your own marketing agency. I'm just giving away systems that worked well for us, and that's basically what I've been doing. And without further ado, let's just jump straight into the topic of this lesson. Today is the finale, the culmination of this bootcamp. Today we're going to talk about the 6 months roadmap. We're going to piece all the different lessons together into the 6 months roadmap. All of the different things that you guys have learned in the previous videos about the offer creation, about the foundations of successful marketing agencies that makes a lot of money on a recurring basis, about the fulfillment systems, SOPs, hiring processes, sales systems. We're going to put it all together into the 6 months roadmap that you can follow and hopefully see similar success in your own marketing agency and eventually be able to scale it to $50,000 to $100,000 a month in recurring revenue and beyond. So let's get started. Before we jump into the roadmap, what I want to talk about is growth when it comes to a marketing agency is not any sort of magic. It's truly simple math. A lot of founders, a lot of you guys actually like to think that the only way to grow your marketing agency is by getting more leads. I need to drive more leads, more. I mean, yes, true, but in my opinion, there are other levers that are simpler and actually more powerful. They go hand in hand with driving more leads, but let's look at this equation that I'm sharing right now on the screen. It includes number of clients, average revenue per client, and the retention, aka lifetime value of each client. Starting with the number of clients, that's where more leads is kind of true. Yes, you do need the leads because the number of clients that you have in your agency will be determined by the number of leads you drive from the cold outreach efforts, inbound and outbound marketing efforts, whether it be the content, the cold outreach, cold email, cold calling. Some sort of agency does it for you if you're paying somebody on a performance basis to drive you leads and book calls for the agency. But the important point here is we're not talking just about any and every client. I don't want you guys to be working with anybody who has a credit card and can pay you money. Like, that's not what the marketing agency that actually has a high retention rate is about. If you want to build a successful marketing agency that not only produces new revenue, but actually retains customers or clients long term, you want to make sure that you're selective with clients you're working with, aka no bad deals. That's something my business partner and I have agreed on back when we just started out. We do not do any bad deals. We are not going to work just with anybody who is breathing and has a credit card. It's not how I like to run my business. I like to work with people who are committed to success, committed to doing their part that needs to be done on their end, contributing from their side to drive their business forward, not just relying on the vendor, like, the marketing agency like myself or your marketing agency to do all of the work for them. Unfortunately, that's not how this world works. All of my most successful clients are the clients who do their part on their side. They're working hard on the deliverables that they need to produce for us and deliver to us in order for us to drive the strongest performance possible in our ads. They're doing other activities that are moving the business forward, like email retention, organic content on a high frequency basis, like retail distribution. There's a lot of different efforts depending on obviously the brand and the type of industry you're working with that needs to be done outside of just running paid ads or whatever the service you are providing your marketing agency in order to grow the business and in order to drive revenue up. And a lot of business owners, especially in the D2C space, they think that if they just hire an agency is going to figure out all of those things for themselves and they will be able to scale the business. Unfortunately, the agency, it's not the solution that cures everything. Yes, agency will help you scale your acquisition if that's what you're focused on, or improve your retention if you're an email marketing agency. But there's many other pieces involved in the equation if you actually want to grow and retain the revenue you're producing on a monthly basis, because a lot of businesses might scale and then they will see a sharp decline and it looks like a bell curve. And what we want to see is a steady progression up where you retain the customers month over month and you increase their LTV. That's what we want to do for our clients, and that's what we want with our own clients in our marketing agency. So going back to no buy deals, my business partner and I, we have made an agreement that we do not work just with everybody. We only work with clients who are committed to their own success and to do their own part from their side. That's something you want to keep in mind when you're focused on driving more leads. Is not just getting more trash leads, but getting more qualified leads that meet your success criteria, that will be doing their part in order to help you win long term in that partnership with the client. So here we are talking about expanding your client or customer base strategically. Again, not just working with everybody who is breathing, has a pulse, and has a credit card, but rather with people who are, yes, having money, but also understand that things take time and they're willing to work on their side in order to contribute to a successful partnership and growth of their own business. If the client doesn't want to grow their own business, expecting other people to do it for them, they will never be successful. And that goes for literally anything in this life, not just marketing agency and clients in the marketing agency. Next puzzle, or next piece of the puzzle, is average revenue per client. This is huge. Yes, you will not be able to start out with very high average revenue per client right away, especially if you're the beginner who doesn't have any sort of proof or cannot come, because you cannot command the higher prices. Like, you will have to start out at the lower end, like $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 a month retainers. But over time, as you collect case studies, as you produce better results for those clients, as you scale their business, you can start increasing your prices that you're charging for the clients who are already working with you, if you're actually driving a meaningful impact on their business and grow your revenue, like by scaling the acquisition or by improving the retention side of the business through email and SMS. And also you want to start increasing the deal value when it comes to cold sales, because now when you drive strong results for your existing clients at the agency who may not be paying you right now a lot, you can use case studies from those clients to in your sales process, in the presentations that you do, in the discovery calls, and that allows you to command higher prices, because by you having a big stack of real proof of what you're doing and showing that you're actually able to drive results you're selling during the call, you will be able to command higher prices. And this is also huge. A lot of agency owners I know, including ourselves, we've struggled with this for so long. We were charging too little. And you don't want to charge too little for too long. Yes, at the beginning you have to start out like that, but over time, I want you to get up to $5,000, $7,500, $10,000 a month for the retainer fee that you're charging your clients in the agency if you're on the acquisition side, if you're running paid ads, for example. And the same goes for SMS and email marketing too. If you're actually good at what you do, you should be raising your prices on an ongoing basis, because you are producing meaningful impact on the client's business. And last piece of the puzzle here is retention or lifetime value of each customer. We want to make sure that you keep clients for as long as possible, because by you keeping the clients for as long as possible, you continue stacking that monthly retainer. If they pay you even $5,000 a month in recurring in the revenue for the management fee or for whatever you are doing for them, this $5,000 per month multiplied by 12 months or 24 months or 36 months, depending on how long you can retain those clients, can become a really large number over time per client. It can be $50,000, $150,000 over the lifetime just from one client. And if you stack a lot of them and you're able to retain as many of your clients as possible for as long as possible, that's how you win in this model of building a marketing agency, essentially. So it's three pieces to this puzzle. It's not just driving more leads. It's driving qualified leads, first of all. It's raising your prices and increasing the average revenue per client upfront. And it is strong retention or high lifetime value per each client. If you have those three pieces of the puzzle all dialed in, you're set for success and you will make a lot of money with your marketing agency. It's not going to happen immediately. It's not going to happen overnight, but over time, you're going to make more and more and more and more. And then you will eventually get to millions of dollars a year, if not tens of millions of dollars a year. So if you follow this equation, you're set for success with marketing agency. What we want to talk about is not scaling broke. So another topic that I see happening in the marketing agency space is a lot of people talk about how much revenue their agency is making. Like, oh, my agency makes $200K a month, my agency makes $300K a month, my agency makes $400K a month, my agency makes $75K a month. And then when I ask them what's their margin, they say that they're barely taking anything home. And you know, the thing is, revenue is vanity. Net margin is reality. That's basically what the marketing agency lifestyle is about. Hitting $50,000 or $100,000 a month means nothing if your take home is less than what you did at $15,000 or $20,000 a month in recurring revenue. You must always make sure you're taking your piece of the pie. You're always paying yourself and you're continuously making more money. I would rather only make $50,000 a month in recurring revenue with my agency, but actually take home 20K a month or 30K or like 25, 30K a month, then be at 2 or 300K a month in recurring revenue, but then take home only $5 or $10,000 a month because my margins are shit. I have expensive contractors. I have a bloated tool stack. I have a lot of low ticket clients and we are over servicing those. We're over delivering for them. I don't want to do this. I want to have high quality clients who are paying me a lot of money per client, like they're paying me $10,000 a month minimum per client, and they're staying with me for a long time. That's how you get rich with this business model. Understand it. Again, the agencies leak profit by having bloated tool stacks. If you have a lot of tools, especially with AI is absolutely everywhere right now, but so many people are paying multiple thousands of dollars per month in AI tools, and they're not getting the ROI on those tools. They're just like, oh, I have the cloud bot. Cool, bro, like what have you fucking built with that bot? Throw the shit out of the fucking window and actually focus on things that make money for you and your business, not on the fucking cloud bots and all of this bullshit that is not moving the needle forward. Same goes for inefficient contractors. If you have a lot of employees who are expensive but are not moving the needle forward the way you expect them to at that price, fucking let them go and hire actual killers for the same price or lower, like cheaper workforce who may not be as qualified on paper, on resume, but if they have grit and perseverance and consistency and discipline and desire to grow and they're hungry, I will choose that type of person any day of the week over somebody who has a polished resume and coming from big tech or from another large marketing agency and they're supposedly really good, but they're costing like expensive amount of money, and if they don't step up, then it's basically money wasted. And then overservicing low ticket clients, it goes back to what I just said in the previous slide. You do not want to work with just anybody and everybody who has a pulse and has a credit card. You only want to work with the clients who you think as a best fit for you, qualified for your service, who are doing their part, who are willing to work on their end in order to grow the business and the relationship and make it successful. Make sure that you are hitting all three. You're cutting down on the costs for the tools you're not using. You're not hiring contractors who are too expensive and are not doing the part that they need to do in order to drive the business forward. And you're not overservicing low ticket clients. That's like, the last one is probably the biggest one, at least for me. It's like, I'm like King Solomon because we still struggle with it sometimes, to be honest with you guys. It's the last one, overservicing low ticket clients. I still to this day struggle with it. And it's not because I want to, but because sometimes clients on the sales call says that they will do their part. And you know, it sounds very convincing. You can never know if people are lying to you on the sales call. And then when the relationship starts, we do all the work, we ask them to provide us with certain things in order for us to do our part of the relationship. And then the client drops the ball. They're not responding to us for weeks. They're giving us shitty assets. They're being defensive and reactive. And you know, that's how the relationship falls apart. Oftentimes we just fire them ourselves because it's a waste of our time and energy. And I would rather let these people go and hire a qualified client, if it's only one of them, who can actually scale and pay us like 5 or 10 low quality clients combined together. And again, the goal with your marketing agency is to maximize profitability without adding founder hours. We do not want to trigger the burnout on you. We've talked about this in the very first episode, and I'm going to repeat myself. You want to make sure that you're scaling, but you're not adding infinite number of hours to your plate, because that's how you build resentment, that's how you build doubt, that's how you burn out, and that's how you eventually decide to shut down your marketing agency. I've seen it multiple times. I've experienced it myself twice during the growth of my own marketing agency. So I talk about this as a first-hand experience. Trust me, you do not want to burn yourself out. It's of course inevitable. Sometimes all of us have shitty days and we are tired, but don't look at it from the perspective like, oh, I need to stop running a marketing agency. Think about it from the perspective you just need to take a break, relax a little bit, and then you can get back on the grind after taking a break. Majority of the times, that's what people need, including myself. I need it sometimes too. I'm not a robot. I'm not immune to not needing the break. And I advise you to do the same if you're ever feeling burnt out or like you're basically grinding your ass without seeing the ROI on that amount of time that you are investing in your marketing agency building and growth. Let's talk about the order of operations, and it matters a lot. This is probably the most important framework in the entire roadmap that we will be looking at. And the sequence here is critical. You want to make sure that you're not skipping any steps, because if you do skip steps, you will more than likely damage your reputation, because you will start dropping the ball on the client fulfillment. Clients will then go and start talking shit about you online, or when somebody asks them what they think about your service, this marketing agency you're running, they'll start talking shit because you've dropped the ball, you haven't done your part. That's the fastest way to go out of the business or lose all of your sales, is by having a bad reputation. So you want to make sure that your reputation is crystal clear here. It's perfect and it's always protected at all costs. It takes a long time to build reputation, and it takes only one bad event to ruin it entirely. So make sure at all times to do what's right for your long-term reputation, not for the short-term cash. It's extremely critical. Remember about this. It will be tempting sometimes for you guys, because it was tempting for me too and my business partner many times during the growth of our marketing agency, to accept some deals, to do some things that, yes, would lead to the short-term cash, but guess what? It would damage our reputation, and that is irreversible. We would then lose a lot more in the long run than what we would win in the short term. So keep that in mind. The order that I guys want you to follow when it comes to the operations is starting with step one. You want to make sure that your fulfillment is dialed the fuck in. We've talked about it on the fulfillment lesson. You want to make sure that you have dedicated SOPs for how you manage the accounts, how you manage the clients, how you do the reporting, what exactly is involved during the onboarding process, and the ongoing management of the client to make sure that they're taken care of and they feel that they are, protected, they feel that they're loved. All of those things are extremely important and they need to be fixed before you start pushing hard on the sales. So that's step one, fix your fulfillment. Step two, stabilize sales. Once your fulfillment is somewhat dialed in, and let's be honest, fulfillment is never going to be perfect. Not a single company in the world has a perfect fulfillment. Not even Amazon, not even Apple, not even, you name it, not even a single big tech company or whatever. All of them have growing pains, and it just comes with building the business. So fulfillment will never be perfect, but you want to get it as good as you can during the initial stage so that it doesn't give you the headaches and doesn't result in high churn as you start scaling by doing more sales. So step two, again, stabilizing sales. Once you have fulfillment dialed in, you want to start building a predictable sales pipeline. And that means you want to start doing predictable sales outreach. You want to do cold calling. You want to do cold email outreach. You want to start producing content and posting it on a daily basis, whether it be LinkedIn, Twitter, or YouTube, whatever the channel is for you, where you see the strongest traction, or where you think is the strongest traction, wherever your audience lives, basically, wherever they spend the most time, your ICP, your ideal customer profile. And then step three, as you do more sales, is you want to start increasing revenue, because as you have the fulfillment dialed in, as you're driving more sales, more deals, and you're producing strong results for your clients, you are able to get case studies from those clients. And those case studies, when you get them, as you use them or leverage them in the sales process for the new prospects, you are able to start raising your prices during those sales process, because when you show your results, it becomes basically undeniable that you're able to produce results you're selling during the call to the prospect. So it goes in this order again: fixing fulfillment, stabilizing the sales, and then increasing revenue, increasing the deal value, just when you're doing sales at the very beginning, basically. Increasing revenue also means that you want to, once you start having enough money in the bank, you want to start running ads. You want to start doing paid acquisition. That's something we're doing right now, and it works pretty well for us. We are targeting our ICPs. We are targeting a list of prospects who is in our industry, and they're responding very well to our ads. And we have a cold offer for those prospects that allows us to close them profitably and maintain a healthy margin. That's probably something that we'll need to record in a separate video, because most of you guys will not need to run paid ads at the beginning because you may not have the money for it. Ads take quite a bit of capital, especially because we are talking about large deal sizes. We're not talking about customers paying you $50 here. We're talking about them paying you multiple thousands of dollars per month, if not $10,000+ per month. And with that comes a pretty big cost for those ads. So you probably will not be at that stage yet, at least not until you're making at least $50,000 or $100,000 in monthly recurring revenue. That's at least when we started running paid ads, and that's what allowed us to scale further. For you at the very beginning, you just want to focus on the cold outreach, cold email, and content marketing. This will be your strongest levers, in my opinion. And then step four, as you fix fulfillment, as you stabilize the sales, as you increase revenue, you now have more cash flow coming in, more cash sitting in the bank that allows you to start hiring leaders who are usually more expensive. But guess what? This is the people that you can delegate the outcomes to, not just the tasks of what to do, but actual outcomes. They will become the outcome owners, and this will allow you to buy back your time, truly buy back your time. Not just buy back your time by hiring somebody who's going to do the tasks, but you still have to watch what they're doing and double check it. The true leaders who are actually great at what they do, the actual A players who own the outcomes, fully remove things from your plate. They own the process, the tasks, the workload, the department end to end from the beginning to the very last interaction, and you don't even have to think about it. That's what I love about hiring leaders, the actual A players. But as you guys know, we've already talked about it in the hiring lesson, you will not always be able to hire only A players. Unfortunately, there are some bad apples sometimes too, and you need to make sure that you're throwing out those bad apples as soon as possible before it's too late, before they start spreading like a cancer in your organization, affecting all other areas of the business. But that's, again, I already covered this in the hiring video and fulfillment video. We will actually record a separate video on the hiring process in the future again, and I will talk about it in more depth. But the point in case is you want to fire the C and B players as soon as possible, and you only want to keep A players on your team. That's how you win long term in any business model, honestly, but especially the marketing agency where it's a service-based industry and the clients work with people. And if you're not having good people on your team, this will result in a high churn rate, damage to your reputation, worse conversion rate or close rate in sales, and eventual shutdown of your marketing agency. So yes, you want to have the best people on your team. Next, we're actually going to look at what your next 6 months should look like. Building a multi-six-figure agency, it requires a focused compound growth strategy. It is not a 30-day sprint. Yes, you can sprint for 30 days, but you're not likely going to see the results in the first 30 days because the way it works is it's a compounding effect. The more work you do on an ongoing basis and the more consistent you are, like you show up daily, shit that you need to do on a daily basis, more compounding effect you see. Like you start seeing more leads coming in. You're able to raise your prices more easily and see less pushback during the sales process. You're able to hire better people. You're able to retain clients for longer. You're able to reduce your churn. Like all of those things combined together. That's what happens over time. That's a compounding effect. Compounding is the strongest tool possible or available to us in this world, whether it be investing or building or sports or relationships or personal growth and development, you name it. Compounding, it cannot be understated. It's huge. And you need to remember about it every single time you think about stopping what you're doing and taking a break or like skipping on a couple of days and not posting content or not doing cold outreach or cold emails. You cannot afford to stop being consistent, because the moment you stop being consistent is the moment you start losing, growth basically trajectory, and you will drop back down. And that's not kind of what you probably want from your agency. So yes, you want to be consistent with the inputs. That's the only way to get consistent outputs long term. Let's quickly look at each month and what it will be including. It will be tied again back to each lesson we have done during this series of the Agency Growth Bootcamp. I'm going to switch over to the roadmap that I've created here in the Google Docs, and let's look at it this way. So the month 1 is going to be the foundations and the offer. Remember, we've talked about it, guys, in the very first lesson, in the second lesson of this Agency Growth Bootcamp. You want to stop competing on price, and you want to start setting behavioral standards, only working with the clients that you want to work with, only the qualified prospects and leads. The key KPI here is finalizing your no-brainer offer. For example, for us, that's creative production plus ads management, both Meta and Google, and landing page funnel development and offer creation. This is our no-brainer offer that we give to the e-commerce brands that we work with and dispenser brands that we work with, and it works really well for our industry and for the ICPs that we are going after. Now, month 2 will be about stabilizing your fulfillment. Focus here will be on protecting the agency from failure and reducing founder burnout and dependency. The KPI here will be 100% of all of your active clients will need to be moved to the standardized onboarding and reporting SOPs. And for that, you will need to make sure that you are documenting your onboarding process, all of your client communication protocols, your ad account setup or email account setup, whatever that is that you do, and creative workflow. You want to standardize it all into the SOPs, into the playbooks of workflows that can be followed by any hire who joins your team. It must not stay only in your head. That's not the way you build that business, guys. Again, you want to make sure that anything that is repeatable and is done at least 50 times is documented on paper, or, on paper, I mean in Notion or Google Docs or whatever tool you use to store and organize your SOPs and workflows and processes. So for us, it's Notion. For you, it can be Asana or something else or Google Docs. You absolutely must do this. It's a pain in the ass, but the way I like to think about it is it's a short-term pain for a long-term gain. You will hate it in the moment, but you will thank yourself long-term. Now, month 3, predictable sales systems. Here, the focus will be on building a repeatable deal flow without the internal chaos, because in the months 1 and 2, you will make sure to dial in your fulfillment, create a bunch of SOPs, dial in your offer. That is no-brainer for your ICP. And once you have that all in place, you will start being able to run the repeatable sales flow and not really stress about the fulfillment, because if you get 20 clients, but then your fulfillment starts breaking, all of those 20 clients will eventually churn. And what will happen is like you get up to 30K months in revenue and then you go back down to 10K months in revenue. And it's a never ending cycle of you going up and down, up and down, up and down. For you, the only way to consistently scale month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year is to have both predictable sales flow and consistent operations machine, consistent fulfillment of the deliverables that are promised during the sales process. Month 4, warm acquisition and referrals. We haven't talked about it much in this Agency Growth Bootcamp, but here the focus will be on reducing the dependency on the cold outreach. Something we have in our marketing agency is we have a couple of partners, all of whom are referring us a bunch of business on a monthly basis. And that helps us a lot during the months when our ads are not doing as well, or when our cold outreach is not doing as well. You don't want to depend only on one channel for acquisition. You want to diversify, not immediately, but over time, such that if something happens to one channel, say that your ads go down or your cold outreach is not as effective as it could be, or it's doing worse than in the previous months, your referrals are staying strong and they're helping you cover that hole and helping you maintain your recurring revenue months over months without seeing a significant drop off. The key KPI here would be to really execute the first round of referral requests for your top 5 clients. At this point, you should have the clients who are seeing strong results, and you want to reach out to those clients and ask if they know anybody in their network who would be in the need of the service that your agency provides. More than likely, they know other brand owners. They may know somebody, most than likely, who will be in the need of the service that you're providing to this client, and they will be able to refer that business. And if you give them some sort of discount, or let's say you will apply $1,000 off towards their next invoice or towards every invoice moving forward, as long as the referral that they brought stays at the client, then it's a no-brainer for them to really bring you as many leads as possible, because this way we've been able to, not yet, but we are about to get one of our clients down to a 0 management fee, simply because they are continuously referring as business and we are actually closing the business, and those prospects are becoming our clients. And as long as they remain our clients, that business, or that other client who referred us this new business is getting a huge discount of their monthly invoice, of their monthly ad management fee, to the point where it's almost 0, which it's a win-win for us. The client who has been with us for a long time, who is loyal to us, is referring as business and paying 0, and we are also making more money by getting more clients through the referral from this client. Month 5 is about hiring and delegation. At this stage, you should focus on empowering your team and start stepping more into the leadership role rather than just doing the day-to-day fulfillment by yourself solo. The key KPI here will be dedicating your 3 key tasks that you are still doing solo yourself to the leader or somebody on your team who you have hired, in order to buy back your time to focus on the things that you're best at as a founder, which is sales and marketing. Anything that has to do with fulfillment, even if you like it a lot, you can still do it in your free time, but it should be taken off your plate as soon as possible as you continue scaling, because by you doing fulfillment by yourself as you continue scaling, you're handicapping yourself. You're not allowing yourself to scale as aggressively as you could, and you're making less money than you could. So it is your decision if you want to make less money but do all of the fulfillment by yourself, or still be very heavily involved in the fulfillment for the client deliverables, or if you want to start buying back your time by delegating the key activities and key tasks and processes to the leaders and employees in your organization, and then buying back your time to focus on sales and marketing, because in my opinion, nobody can do it better than the founder himself. And last month 6, obviously there's many more months after that, but assuming you actually follow through with this plan and you do all the parts required to get to month 6 and be at that level, is margin optimization and scale. At this point, you want to start focusing on scaling your monthly recurring revenue predictably without adding the founder hours. You need to make sure that you know your numbers really well. You need to know your true margin for both net margin and gross margin. You have to know your fucking numbers. I cannot stress this enough. You must know your numbers. You must know how much money is coming in, how much money is staying in, how much money you're paying to contractors for the tools. You also need to make sure you're putting some away for tax payment. That's something that a lot of people, including my own marketing agency, we fucking got caught in this in our first year, and never again I will get caught in this. We forgot to put away money for the tax, and then we got hit with a huge tax bill the following year, and we had no cash to pay for the tax. And guess what? We got fucked. We eventually paid it, but we had to pay the fee on top, or the interest charge, whatever that was. So don't be us. Make sure you put some money away every single month for tax payment, so that you're not surprised when the April comes around the following year. And that's basically the exact roadmap that you guys can use to turn whatever you're having right now, whatever the agency you're owning right now, whether it be the email marketing agency, the paid Google Ads agency, paid Meta Ads agency, whatever, into a true growth engine. That's how you scale predictably, month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year, without burning yourself out, without adding too many hours to your calendar, while still making more money. And now that's something I don't really push. You guys know I don't do hard sales, but if you are interested, my business partner and I are offering a one-on-one mentorship for a select group of individuals who are committed to their success, who are committed to the inputs, doing their part that needs to be done in order to grow their business and move it forward. Be offering it, even though I still I'm in debate if I want to do this, but for the right people, for the hungry people, for those who are willing to put in the work, I'm willing to show up and support them on this journey, giving them the necessary support in order to help them get to that level. Again, if you can buy the courses and boot camps, that works. You get them more information, you get Siri, you get what to do frameworks. It's self-paced, there's no pressure, which is good and bad, by the way, at the same time. We'll talk about it in a second. You do feel that motivation, you get the dopamine from, oh damn, I'm consuming information, I know what to do, but in reality, you're not fucking doing shit, you're just consuming information, you're not executing. As compared to the mentorship, one-on-one mentorship with me and my business partner, where we actually hold you accountable, we talk to you on a weekly basis, and you're available, you have our phone number, so you're with us on Slack, you can message us every single day, and we are following up, asking you on the status of things we discussed, whether you have started doing the plan we've created for you, whether you have started executing on the things that you need to do in order to grow your business forward and grow it. You have that accountability. And I like to create a parallel to the personal training. In personal training or in training in general, most people they already know how to do the exercise. It's not like they need somebody to tell them, oh, you need to do it this way. You only need to do it that many times before you have the motor memory and your body knows how to do it. Majority of the times, people have trainers or they need personal trainers, because personal trainers there is not to maintain or keep an eye out on their technique. He's there to keep the person accountable, to motivate them, to tell them they can keep going, that they can do one more rep. If they see that the person, that their trainee is about to stop doing the exercise that they're feeling too bad, they will push them to do a couple more reps. They will keep them accountable to their progress in the gym and also sometimes outside of the gym, depending on the program that they're in. That's how I like to think about the mentorship. Mentorship is basically personal training, is what I like to think about. You already know what you need to do most of the time, but you don't have that accountability. You don't have the pressure on you. You can only put that much pressure on yourself. Majority of the times, including myself sometimes, I just tend to slack. And if I did have the mentor who was on top of my ass, that would help me a lot. And it helped me in my time when I had the mentor. It helped me to continue focusing on what I need to do and pushing the needle forward instead of just chilling and not doing anything. So I highly recommend, if it's not us, that you get some sort of mentor who helps you get to where you want to go. Another thing that mentor is good for is customized execution plan. Oftentimes, when you buy the courses, it's just generic information that you can watch on YouTube or you can download online. If you work with a mentor, who's walked the path, who's accomplished success that you want to accomplish, they can help you create that custom plan for you, specifically for your situation, for your business, for your agency. That will be, it's one of one. It's not like it's generic template that you can find online. And this plan will oftentimes work way better than just a generic plan that you can find online. Another thing is live audits of everything you do. Again, with the courses, you just buy the information. With mentor, you can actually have a person review everything you do, provide feedback in real time, tell you what fixes need to be made in order to improve your close rate or improve your fulfillment system or improve your hiring system, whatever that is. And that is invaluable. You cannot imagine how huge that is, having somebody in your corner watching or double checking your work and calling out things that you need to fix in order to help grow your business and move it forward. If you are interested, what you will get is bi-weekly one-on-one calls, direct DM access or iMessage access to me and my business partner. And another thing I will say, guys, it's going to be limited to only 5 to 10 people max, because I'm imagining it's going to take a bunch of time from me and my co-founder to support you guys in this journey. And I want to make sure that every single mentee who is in my program, I want them to succeed. And it means I will need to keep them accountable. I will need to make sure that they're doing their part, and that will require me to invest pretty significant hours from my side. And that's why I want to keep the group small. And another thing that, you need to keep in mind is, if you're just starting out, if you're not even making $10,000 a month right now, it's probably not for you. You can just watch this bootcamp, get all the necessary information that you need to get from this bootcamp, and then just go and execute. Once you get to $10,000 to $15,000 a month in recurring revenue and you start feeling stagnant, that's when you can reach out and we can start working together one-on-one. I will put the link in the description of this video. If you're interested, please apply. No pressure whatsoever. I know you guys can succeed on your own, but by working with me and my partner, I think we can get you there much sooner if you're interested in that. If not, no worries at all. Like I said, I hope you found value in this Agency Growth Bootcamp. That's the finale. I'll make sure to include the link to the roadmap that I've screen shared during this presentation in the description of this video as well, so you guys could have it available to you whenever you want to pull it up and use it as you build and scale your marketing agency. But yeah, it's been a pleasure recording this bootcamp. I know it didn't come out as perfect as I envisioned it to be, but it's a good start. I will improve over time, and I might redo it in the future when there is more insight and more information and more data sets that I've accumulated over time that I can share with you guys. Because building your business and personal growth and development, it's a lifelong journey. You continuously get better month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year. As you continue accumulating more information, you're discovering new facts, you're changing your mind on things as you learn new information. You know, things that I've shared during this bootcamp, I might very well change my mind on it at some point in the future. But as it stands right now, I believe in everything I've presented in every single lesson of this bootcamp. And if you follow through and execute on everything I've shared, you will, without a doubt, scale your marketing agency to $50,000 to $100,000 a month in recurring revenue, and eventually much higher. But it all starts with the first step, which is actually executing, not just continuously consuming more information, but executing on the information you already know. So let's finish here. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I will see you in the future videos. Thank you very much. That's it. Peace.